Hello friends, I am glad to welcome you all to my channel. In the last video about strange footprints on the bottom of the drying Aral Sea, I told you about ancient settlements found by archaeologists after the water left, as well as about incomprehensible lines and geoglyphs that were also under a thick layer of water masses and appeared as a result of the drying of the Aral Sea. Some of you have made the assumption that the lines are traces of bottom trawls and sea vessels, and with regard to strange geoglyphs, some even concluded that these are traces of motorcyclists, but I want to upset you, friends, not everything is as simple as it seems at first glance. Official and alternative scientists have been looking for explanations for the origin of these lines since the 90s, even coming up with some drifting ice flows trying to fit everything into the framework of the official version of history and not finding an answer give them mysterious names. At the expense of traces of unknown activity at the bottom of the Aral Sea, alternative researchers who have also visited the site of events put forward all sorts of versions about ancient civilizations, and it's not just like that. The fact is that employees of the Kazakhstan Research Hydrometeorological Institute who discovered these signs and lines during aerial photography of the area consulted with geologists, geographers, mathematicians and geophysicists, trying to find a solution. One conclusion was made to this phenomenon: not military equipment, not ships or drifting glaciers. Not tornadoes or any other cataclysms could not leave such marks on the bottom of the sea. We have no reason not to trust their conclusion, since there is no need to be a psychic to understand that versions with bottom trawls are traces from sea vessels. They were put forward first of all and with great joy. Also, many lines go far beyond the former bottom of the sea, so I still consider the question of their origin to be open. In 2000, the Cuban government invited Canadian scientists Paul White and Pauline Zalitski to make a cartographic description of the ocean floor, in order to search for sunken Spanish treasure ships. Exploring the ocean floor in the area of the famous Bermuda Triangle in the Caribbean Sea to the north and northeast of the island of Cuba with the help of a deep-sea robot, scientists made a sensational discovery. At the bottom of the sea, there is an ancient sunken city in the Bermuda Triangle area. With the help of high-resolution sonar, 700 meters from the Cuban coast, researchers discovered a giant sunken city with roads and tunnels, pyramids and many other megalithic buildings. Engraved inscriptions were found on the walls of buildings. One of the sculptures was made in the form of a sphinx. Scientists believe that this city is similar to the cities of ancient Latin American cultures, in particular the culture of the vanished Teotihuacan civilization that existed on the territory of modern Mexico in the first millennium. Perhaps the Aztec tribes that came later experienced a strong influence of this civilization. According to researchers, the sunken city was built about 1500–2000 years ago. The pyramids and the Sphinx in the Caribbean Sea are much larger than the Egyptian ones in massiveness. The fact that the island of Cuba is a relic of a once powerful ancient culture is confirmed by the discoveries of Canadian scientists. Ancient symbols and pictographs identical to the Egyptian hieroglyph were found on the ruins of some buildings. They are also visible on underwater structures. Structures similar to the Egyptian pyramids were also found, but much larger in size. According to scientists, these pyramids were built of stones that exceeded the Egyptian by hundreds of meters. Tons. Journalist Luis Fernandez, who participated in the expedition, writes, "I confirm that the stones were cut and polished so as to fit snugly together, forming large structures on them. There are strange inscriptions similar to Egyptian hieroglyphs. There are also symbols and drawings whose meaning is unknown. A scientific group has been formed. Ocean experts, archaeologists and historians came to the conclusion that the ruins of an ancient city are located at the bottom of the ocean about 300 meters below the level of the world ocean. They unanimously decided that it was the sunken Atlantis. Fernandez also interviewed scientists, asking about the likelihood that the ruins really belonged to the civilization of Atlantis, to which the answer was given. On the island of Yucatan, Aborigines still live today, distinguished by their distinctive culture. They believe that their ancestors lived on an island that sank during a natural disaster. This island was called the Atlantic. Local residents pass from fathers to sons the legend of a sudden flood. Oceanologist engineer Pauline Zalitski also spoke about her conclusions. The sunken city was probably inhabited by a developed civilization, like Teotihuacan in Yucatan, at a depth of 700 to 800 meters. Researchers found a huge plateau with structures representing the layout of the city. Pyramid structures, roads and buildings are clearly distinguishable. In general, personally, in my opinion, every time scientists find what either the sunken ancient city is sure to announce to everyone that they found Atlantis. The locals immediately declare themselves descendants of the Atlanteans and everything like that, or maybe there was no Atlantis, maybe there were just people of unusually tall stature. Having high technologies, which were called differently in different nations, Atlanteans, Nephilim, Hyperboreans, Adites, and so on, after learning how they are described in different nations, you will be very surprised that this is a description of the same people, the same civilization. Maybe everything is much simpler, and in ancient times there was a highly developed civilization and people of those the same as now, but much larger in size. Then everything was more people, animals, trees, and so on, which by the way is confirmed by a lot of archaeological finds. Something really terrible may have happened that destroyed almost all living beings on the planet, as a result of which the miraculously saved group of people had to adapt and somehow survive. Friends, that's all for today. Thank you for your attention. If you like the issue, please like and subscribe to the channel. See you again.